Can Maharaga's adaptation be weaponized against him? Let's talk about it. All right, first of all, shout out to Bungus Bongus for the question today, and incredible name, by the way. But his question today is actually a follow-up to something we talked about recently, which is, can Mahoraga lose adaptations? So the short answer there is no, but y'all check out my other video for the full context. But Bungus's follow-up is, do you think it's possible for Mahoraga to adapt itself into a corner where it's forced to lose an adaptation? And then he provides an example. He's saying, let's say Mahoraga adapted to Gojo's infinity by always shrinking the space between him and an enemy. And then let's say he fights somebody else later, where getting close to an enemy is actually a bad thing. So would Mahoraga then lose his previous adaptation? Okay, so this is where semantics is actually really important, because no, I don't think Mahoraga would lose the adaptation. I think he would simply turn it off, which in a manner of speaking is losing the adaptation, right? He's choosing not to use that adaptation anymore, but I do think it's a choice. It wouldn't be something that was forcibly stripped from him that he would then need to readapt to the infinity in order to use, right? You could think of it as a light switch. He's like, oh, this is no longer serving me, I'm gonna turn it off. And as an example, and first of all, I know this isn't canon, this was anime only, but it's still a good example, is when Mahoraga developed gills when he was in the water. He adapted to that, right? Well, when he goes back to land, those gills aren't a hindrance to him anymore, he just stops using them. Now, all that being said, I do think it's possible for Mahoraga to adapt himself into a corner and have his adaptation weaponized against him, because we literally saw this happen in the Gojo fight. When Gojo used his own blue in order to attract himself to a location faster than Mahoraga could get there, because Mahoraga was immune to the blue and so wasn't getting that attractive force. Gojo used that against him, right? Now, Mahoraga isn't omnipotent. He couldn't have known that that was Gojo's strategy, right? But if he had known, then I do think Mahoraga would have been fully capable of turning off that adaptation and using the attractive force if he wanted to. But again, he couldn't have known that at the time, so Gojo used that against him.